By now, you know that Washington Commanders rookie Brian Robinson Jr. was the target of an attempted robbery early yesterday evening in D.C., that he was a victim of gun violence while attempting to fend off teenage attackers. And we don't know what these two boys, likely between the ages of 15 and 17, according to Metro PD, wanted, or if they targeted Robinson because he's Robinson. But the reasoning behind it really doesn't matter, does it? Not when you're living in today's America, where the threat of gun violence hangs over this country like a shroud, and Brian was simply one of its latest victims. I got to be honest with you, as we're putting today's show together, I wasn't sure I was going to talk about the shooting in these final moments. And it wasn't because I don't care that Brian was shot, because I do. I care a great deal, just like I care about the victims of every other shooting I've talked about here, and the ones that I haven't covered. All of them mean something to me, and I'm guessing they mean something to you as well. And like me, I'm guessing that you're becoming a little desensitized to it all. And how can we not? The only reason we even know about the shooting is because NFL rookie Brian Robinson Jr. was the victim. Would the story have been told if the victim was accountant Brian Robinson Jr.? Probably, here anyway. But after hearing it, would you have paid it any mind? Would you sit with it, asking yourself, how did we get to this and how do we get out of it? Gun violence is a nationwide epidemic that needs to be addressed by the collective, meaning that all of us must take ownership of this madness and work together to end it. But you also know that there are a number of people among us who revel in the feel of a gun on their hip or in their hand. You know that guns are an industry and that the gun lobby is keeping them as unregulated as they possibly can by placing large sums of money in the outstretched hands of certain congresspeople. And you know that the scope of it all feels overwhelming. So we learn to ignore it until we can't, like this weekend. Thankfully, it looks like Brian's going to be okay. And hopefully he'll heal up and continue on his journey. But we cannot keep going on our journey like this. America needs healing too. And the only thing that's going to cure us is comprehensive gun reform. Until then, we're just going to become even more numb.